Hey guys, Payaso Ramos, and today the Miami Dolphins get their fourth win of the season to improve to 4-7. They just defeated the New York Jets 24-17, and it was a mildly underwhelming game. There was stints, the big play to Mike Hollins and other plays. It was a lot closer than it should have been. But at the end of the day, a win's a win. The Dolphins got out of MetLife Stadium with another win to their belt, proving, like I said, 4-7. They have a pretty nice going stint of games coming up, and this could lead into a good stretch of football for the Dolphins if everything goes their way. But we gotta see. It comes week by week, and that's pretty much how it goes. The way I'm saying it's underwhelming is the Dolphins team. This Dolphins team is way better than this Jets team, and they let the Jets hang around. The Dolphins like to play up and down to their opponent. For the most part, I saw the Dolphins playing down to this New York Jets team, but they were able to secure the win in the moment when it mattered. But let's get into some stats. Tua Tagovailoa went 27 of 33 for 273 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was not sacked not one time. And that was the one good thing I can take away from this game is the Dolphins were able to protect Tua. Now, Albert Wilson also got a throw in, didn't complete it. Joe Flacco for the New York Jets, who ended up starting the game, went 24 of 39, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, but was sacked twice for a loss of 13 yards. There were times in the game that the pocket was collapsing on Tua, and he found ways to either step up or just get rid of the ball, and that was really effective in the matter of not taking any sacks. Now, rushing, this was probably the best rushing game for the Miami Dolphins this season. As a team, they had 33 rushes, 115 yards. Their leading back was Myles Gaskin, 23 carries, 89 yards. Right behind them was Duke Johnson, 4 carries, 18 yards. Pretty much that is just very minimal gains from everyone else. But the best running game I think I've seen from the Dolphins this season, and that was one of my keys to victory. Keep the ball. Run the ball. Just run the ball. Good things will happen if you run it a bunch of times. There was a big block by Albert Wilson that led to Myles Gaskin a big 20-yard gain. So that was his longest run of the game, and it proved if you keep running the ball, teams are gonna play honest on you. And also it benefited them because on that big throw to Mac Hollins, which was a 65-yarder, it was the defense that was playing the run. They thought the Dolphins were going to run it because the Dolphins were in position to kind of just run out the clock early in the third quarter. That wasn't the case. The pocket collapsed. Tua stepped up and threw a big 65-yard bomb to Mac Hollins and ended up being a touchdown. So that's something big that the Dolphins need to continue working on is running the ball. It doesn't matter if it's not working well. It keeps defenses honest. Now, for the Jets, they also had 100 yards, but Michael Carter was their leading rusher. 9 carries, 63 yards. After that was Tevin Coleman, 5 carries, 16 yards. For receiving for the Dolphins, Mac Hollins was the leading receiver. 2 receptions, 72 yards. 1 touchdown, longest was 65. And then Jalen Waddle was the Dolphins' leading reception leader in terms of how many receptions. 8 receptions, 65 yards. He also got a rushing touchdown in the first quarter, pretty much the first drive. Mike Gesicki, 5 receptions to 50 yards. Darren Smythe, 4 receptions, 37 yards. They're using Darren Smythe a lot more in the passing game, which is interesting to see because when he came into the Dolphins, he was primarily a blocking type of back. And then also I want to highlight Patrick Laird's 1 reception for 5 yards. Probably the most vital reception of the game, and Patrick Laird made guys miss, continuing the drive. It was 3rd and 4, something like that, and he was able to get the Dolphins first down, which set up the touchdown run by Jalen Waddle in the first quarter. Elijah Moore torched the Miami Dolphins, though. 8 receptions, 141 yards. He also had a 62-yard reception. Dolphins pretty much brought out all blitz, and he was able to just make his guy miss and pretty much went off to the races. Javion Holland almost caught up to him, but at that point, he was already on the other side of the field, had to come all the way across. It just wasn't good for the Dolphins there. Jamison Crowder, 6 receptions, 44 yards. Ryan Griffin, 3 receptions, 39 yards. Jamison Crowder also had a touchdown. So fumbles. Christian Wilkins recovered a. Okay, well, Brandon Jones sacked Joe Flacco, and it's a strip sack fumble. Ball pops up in the air. Christian Wilkins recovers it. He fumbles it. Javion Holland recovers it. It was a pretty sloppy sequence of events, but Javion Holland almost got hurt on that because the way he got tackled, he kind of got pushed back. If you look at the video, it's kind of scary looking at him get hit like that. And then after he was grabbing his leg. But speaking of Javion Holland, he was the Dolphins' leading tackler with 7 tackles, 6 solo. He had 1 pass deflection. Brandon Jones, so both of our young safeties just lighting up the scoreboard in terms of when it comes into tackles and stuff. Brandon Jones, 6 tackles, 2 solo. He had 1 sack and 1 QB hit. Jerome Baker, 6 total, 1 solo, 1 QB hit, and pretty much that's about it. Xavier Howard almost had an interception. He had a pass deflection, so did Byron Jones. And Manuel Agba also batted one at the line of scrimmage, deflecting it. Quincy Williams for the New York Jets was their leading tackler, 15 total, 10 solo. He had 2 tackles for a loss. Bryce Hall was next, 8 total, 6 solo. Ashton Davis had a pass deflection, and so did Quinton Williams. Aside from that, the Jets' defense was pretty much lacking. Ashton Davis did have an interception, and that interception, I don't know if you want to call it Jalen Waddle kind of giving up on a route or being a step behind or something, or Tua overthrowing him. Pretty much, he caught it when it was about to hit the ground. It was nowhere near really any receiver. So, yeah, you can blame Tua for doing that bad throw, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Kick returns, Jalen Waddle, 16 yards on 1 return. Albert Wilson, 2 yards on the onside kick return. For the Jets, they have Tevin Coleman, 2 returns for 49 yards. Braxton Berrios, 1 return for 31 yards. And Ryan Griffin, 1 return for 8 yards. Braxton Berrios had 2 punt returns for 28 yards. Jason Sanders went 1 for 2 on field goals and 3 for 3 on extra points. That field goal could have really hurt the Dolphins if this game had come down to pretty much the last possession. But the Dolphins got bailed out by Matt Amendola's 1 of 3 field goal kicking, and he went 2 for 2 on extra points. So those field goals missed by Matt Amendola really saved the Dolphins in this game, because if those points still stay on the board and everything goes the same, it's a 1-point game. Dolphins win still at the end of the day, but Jason Sanders missed field goal. Pretty vital heading into the half. Matt Pardley, he had 4 punts, 191 yards. 1 was in the 20. Longest was 57 yards. And then for the Jets, Brandon Mann had 4 punts, 152 yards. 3 were in the 20, and his longest was 43. So now the Dolphins are still in third. They're 4-7 in the AFC East. The Jets go down to last with a 2-8 record. And then Buffalo lost today against Indianapolis Colts, going down, no longer being the AFC East leader for 6-4. New England 7-4 took the AFC East lead. That should be something interesting down the line for this NFL season between these 3 teams, the Dolphins, Jets, and Buffalo Bills, because the Dolphins have a chance to go on a run. But let's talk about what I said that the Dolphins need to do to get this win. First was put pressure on the quarterback. I think they did a decent job of that. Jalen Phillips had a big sack in late in the third, almost fourth quarter, and it really was something that stalled their drive. I think that Dolphins put a lot of pressure on him, but he did make the Dolphins pay when they sent pretty much an all-out blitz, and they were able to get the touchdown on Elijah Moore. So 50-50 on that one. Running the ball, no matter what the outcome is, run the ball. Dolphins did a really, really good job of that. I was really happy to see that the Dolphins were, staying true to running the ball, and that was something that the Dolphins need to continue doing. I don't care if the Dolphins are dead last in rushing yards in the NFL. It doesn't matter. They just need to run the ball well. Just consistently run it. Keep the defense you're playing against honest, and good things will happen. That big 20-yard gain. I mean, if that wouldn't have happened if not for the big block by Albert Wilson, so salute to him. And I forgot the last one. But it was pretty much, I guess, put up points. And, the Dolphins outscored the Jets. Ended up getting the win, so that's all good. But next couple of games the Dolphins have are against the Panthers, Giants, and the Jets. I think the Dolphins have a bye after the Giants game, so should be interesting. The next two games are at home. The next three games are at home. Panthers, Giants, Jets. But the Dolphins are in a prime position to at least make something better of their season, especially with their first round pick going to Philadelphia. You don't want to give them a high pick off of for nothing. You want to give them the worst possible pick if you can. But yeah, hopefully the Dolphins could continue on this stretch. The Panthers lost to the Washington football team today, 27-21, and the Giants are going to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this Monday. So it's looking pretty good. I'm telling you guys, the last three games of the season, it's really what's going to come down to whether or not the Dolphins make something of this season. Because these next three games, although the Panthers one is the only one that really concerns me, I think the rest of the Giants and the Jets are winnable games. Saints could be winnable. Just really depends on how the Dolphins do that day. And then Titans lost to Houston today. So anything is possible, honestly. And then they close out the season against the Patriots, which could very well be, speculating, but very well be for the AFC East, or at least a playoff spot for either team. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Next video you guys will see from me is the game picks, but then aside from that, it will be Panthers game preview. So thank you guys for watching, and let's see what the Dolphins can do the rest of the season. Thanks.